Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, that is inaccurate. It is not the 9th today. There we go. Welcome to episode 26 of Sports Stuff Hub Live. Obviously, I don't need this at the moment. I just needed to make sure my mic was working properly. So, lots to talk about, lots going on in the NFL right now, and we've got a big show later today. Later tonight, I'm going to be having a special guest, Dean Smith-Richard, joining me. It was going to be Mark Magana, but a scheduling conflict with Mark forced him to have to postpone, so we moved Mark back to next week, and Dean is going to be on today. Hey, what's going on, Jesus? So Dean's going to be on later today talking about all the going-ons in the NFL right now. There was a lot that's happened over the last 48 hours, so we're going to be trying to dive through quite a bit of it. We also are going to talk a little hobby before we get rolling, and Dean should be joining us here around 6:30. And then I do have a giveaway scheduled for the Seattle Children's Hospital box. Unfortunately, while I was trying to get the list done up, I'm running into a snag with the 300 subscriber list. Unfortunately, I did not know that YouTube will not provide me the full list of subscribers. So I've been dealing with that. I'm going to try to figure out a way. So I'm going to push it back to next week. We'll do the giveaway next week. Worst case scenario, I'll figure out something else to do for the giveaway in terms of running the randomizer. I can see about 140 of the most recent 300 subscribers. I don't want to limit it to that because I know there are some people that watch the channel that were subscribed very early to my channel. So if I just run it off the last 140, I'm going to miss a fair amount of people that provide a lot of support to Sports Stuff Hub, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to find a way for a little more inclusion and have more people in the giveaway, try to get as many of the 300 in there as possible. And then we are going to be coming up on a 500 giveaway, and hopefully we'll be correct. Zeus, you were one of those first number of people. David Miller, I just see, jumped in as well. He was another one of those first subscribers. So I'm going to try to find a way to get the full list of the 300 subscribers from YouTube. There has to be a way to do it. I'm sure there is. So it's going to take me an extra week. So no big deal. I have the box right back there. Not a problem at all. We will be getting the giveaway done hopefully on the next show once everything is all squared away with the subscriber list. And then later tonight we are going to rip some basketball to end the show. I've got 2 Hoops Premium Blasters and 2 Hoops Premium Cellos that we're going to rip on tonight's show. So we're going to have some fun doing that, doing some giveaways with that as well. And like I said, Dean Smith-Richard will be joining me around 6:30 tonight. Mark Magana is pushed back to next week due to a scheduling conflict on his end. Unfortunate. But I completely understand it is what it is. So we have, before I get into the big announcement, which we'll be covering here in a little bit, and I'll probably mention it multiple times tonight because it's a big announcement, we do have some sports card releases that were pushed back. Inception Baseball slated to release tomorrow. A number of wholesalers, from what I have caught wind from, a number of wholesalers are delayed. I got multiple emails today. Topps is not officially pushing back the release date, but a number of retailers and wholesalers are behind, and it is going to be a slight delay on a number of sources. So if you go into a local card shop, or if you're looking at a local breaker or a familiar breaker that you use, don't be surprised if they don't have Inception breaks or Inception to sell, because some places are delayed in getting it. So give it a few extra days. I know the little bit of Inception I have coming is delayed at least until Friday at the very earliest. So that could happen with a lot of places around the country. I don't know for sure. I just can see on my emails that I got that a handful of people were delayed. One of the other products that was pushed back was Prism Soccer EPL, the breakaway, which would be, I guess, considered the disco versions, fast breaks, the no huddles, that kind of stuff. I believe they call it breakaway for soccer. Seeing that was delayed as well. So I know I don't have it yet. I don't know if anybody else has gotten it yet, but that's another one that was delayed on several sources. And it looks like Topps opening day was pushed back to the 24th, which would be next week, Wednesday. So if you're looking for Topps opening day baseball, you're waiting an extra week. It was originally slated for 3/17, has now been pushed back to 3/24. Excuse me, it was slated for 3/19 this Friday, pushed back to 3/24, which is next Wednesday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We do have a number of Panini products that are going to be hitting the floor, not this coming week, but the week following. Some big ones to end the month, one of which being Prism Basketball, and a number of you I know I've talked to, and we talked a little bit about this on the last couple of shows. It looks like it's going to be pre-orders for most vendors at about $2,500 per box, which is a little bit better than the $3,100 that the first retailer put their number out at. But that comes out on the 31st, as well as Select Football. Select Football as well comes out on the 31st. Again, tentative, could be delayed a little bit, but Panini has been catching back up after COVID and the bad weather and the power outages and the fires and everything that's gone on over the last 6 months, really. Panini's starting to catch back up, and they're starting to actually hit their dates again. So expect, at worst case, it's pushed back a week. But be expecting Prism Basketball to be dropping in the next 2 to 3 weeks, as well as Select Football dropping within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then literally the next day after those two drop, we have opening day for baseball, not the product, but the actual opening day for baseball, April 1st. So excited to get the baseball season kicked off, and not kicked off, pitched off, whatever you want to call it. Opening day for baseball, get it started, because it's always better when you got some Mariners in your life. Let's see here. What time will Topps start selling Inception on the website tomorrow? It will probably be around 10 o'clock. It's either going to be 8 o'clock our time on the West Coast or 10 o'clock on the West Coast. That's been typically when Topps has dropped products. But at this point, with how they're doing stuff lately between Topps and Panini, I don't 100% know, but I would guess it's going to be sometime between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh, Hoops Premium Basley hunting. Correct, Tony. We are Basley hunting. Nothing else. We are Basley hunting. So yes, Tony's reference, we are ripping, if you just joined, we are ripping 2 cellos of Hoops Premium and 2 blasters of Hoops Premium tonight. That is going to be our rip and giveaway for tonight. And then if you're just joining, we are pushing back the Seattle Children's giveaway. I explained it a little bit more in depth earlier, and you can watch the replay and catch that if you want to. But basically, YouTube is limiting how many of the subscribers that I can see. Out of 300 subscribers, it's only giving me the last 100, the most recent 140 subscribers, and I don't feel that that is fair to the other 160 subscribers to limit the giveaway to just that. Because, part of it, a lot of the people who have been subscribed to my channel since day one still support Sports Stuff Hub to this day, and I don't feel it's fair to not have it all inclusive. So we're going to push it back to next week in hopes that I can get it resolved, and if not, I'll figure out something else to do. Hit a Halliburton out of Revolution. Right on. Awesome. Nice job, David. Let's see here. So, you know what? Let's just get into the big news for the day, because I'm just going to I'm going to be talking about it multiple times throughout the show. Hope you guys are ready for this. Big news. Big announcement from Sports Stuff Hub. Told you it was a big announcement, okay? Let me actually get my... There we go. You ready for this? I wish I had a countdown timer right now. Big announcement. Sports Stuff Hub breaks are officially returning. Officially. Huge announcement. Massive announcement. Big. This is huge. Okay? We're going to be kicking off group breaks with 2020 Select Football. 2020 Select Football is going to be the first breaks for Sports Stuff Hub returning to the breaking circuit. Okay? Excuse me. We're going to be running Select Football single box breaks to start with. Estimated date currently set as 3/31, obviously subject to change if they do push release date back. Okay? So we are going to be running some breaks that day if release day stands as 3/31 and we don't have any delays with getting the product. So that is what's going to happen. It's going to be random team format to start. I'm not going to do any pick your team stuff to start. We're going to be doing strictly random teams to begin. I don't expect this to just explode. There was a large customer base that I had back when I was breaking on a regular basis, and I don't expect everybody to just drop everything and just jump into breaks with me again. But we will be getting back into this and bringing it forward. The website will soon include a breaks tab. If you're unfamiliar with the website, go check it out, sportsstuffhub.com, and there will be a breaks tab at the top of the page just after the Funko store. So it's going to say Card Shop, Funko Shop, and then it's going to be a breaks tab. And going forward from that moment, we will have weekly Wednesday breaks. Weekly. It's not going to be a massive thing, probably starting around 4 p.m. Pacific time. Every Wednesday, scheduling based on release days. And when there are no Wednesday releases of, like for example, I don't have Inception for tomorrow, so what I would probably end up doing is grabbing another couple of products to do on something where we didn't have a product to break on release day. But for now, we will be doing it every Wednesday. So we're going to have Sports Stuff Hub Live on Tuesday nights for the sports chat. And we're still going to do our box rip to end the show. Wednesdays is going to be break night. Every Wednesday is going to be break night. Whether it's, 2 breaks or 5 breaks or 8 breaks or however many we have slated for that time. It will all be listed on the website for people to buy in. And obviously we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff like we did before with a lot of the giveaways and a lot of the bonus stuff that I'll incorporate in. I will hopefully at some point be working on getting a platform set up for a rewards program. I'm going to get the website eventually set back up, hopefully within the next couple of months, have it set up for email subscriptions so that you can get your weekly reminder, what's going to break, all that kind of fun stuff. But this is big. Got the right side of the camera here. This is big because this is Sports Stuff Hub moving back forward into being full-time Sports Stuff Hub continuation. This helps with getting the show bigger. This helps with getting the studio. This helps with getting the card shows more traction. This helps with a lot of stuff. So we need to make sure that we're pumping this and we're getting people in and we're getting people involved because this is a big piece of it. So, jumping over to the comments real quick. Live at the card show too. That is something, Tony, that actually is something that I've bounced around doing. I tried to do that a number of years ago when the card show was at Factoria. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi was so bad and the signal was so bad at the Factoria Mall that I couldn't keep a stream open. So I couldn't do it there, streamed wise. I've contemplated with the bringing back the breaks. I've contemplated doing live breaks that are inclusive to the people at the show, and then just record them to put online later on. It's something I'm kicking around. I may do that later on. I know I do have plans on doing a lot of remote feed type of stuff going forward between the show and breaks. Like, for example, I plan on doing a lot of recording while I'm at the National this year and talking to people and conducting some interviews, more low-key stuff, more bro-down type of interview stuff that will be highlight material for the show. That'll be stuff that I do put on the show. So there is potential for that. I like where your head's at, though, Tony. Let's see here. Taylor, do we get an exclusive to claim a spot? Well, let's just say that the people who support me and have, you know, been there before any of this always get priority because you're privy to the information. You know, it's I share more with you guys watching the show and that follow me closely on Twitter than anybody else. So a lot of you guys are going to know stuff because you guys especially that have helped build this have supported it and been paying attention to news and details and stuff. So yes, getting a spot would probably be easier for you than anybody else. Taylor hired as security. You know, there's points with how busy the shows are getting that I've contemplated hiring somebody to just be there to watch the table, even when I'm dealing with people, because so far, because I catalog some of you guys that have been to the show and have talked to me and watched me and bought stuff from me. You know that I catalog everything that sells. I take pictures of everything that sells. We document everything that sells. And so far, we've only had one show where a card was not accounted for after the show. One show so far. One card. It was about a $20 to $25 LeBron James card. Not a huge deal, but so far. Now, I did have some issues back in my earlier days of breaking and doing the Twin Oaks shows where I had a rather large card. At the time was a Kristaps Porzingis Spectra RPA out of, I think, 35, or maybe it was 49, that walked off at a card show and filed a police report. Nothing ever came of it. But I have contemplated having an extra set of eyes at the table. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Plus, as as things continue to go, I do plan on walking around more. I would like to go check out some more of the tables. So having somebody else who can work with people and collect money and whatnot is something that I do plan on moving forward with. Let's see here. David Miller. Those are my game nights. I'll try to get spots, but probably won't be able to watch live until summer. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you got to be on to watch it, and it'll be posted, the night that night or the next morning, or I can give people the live feed or the replay feed, I should say, so they can always watch later on. I'm not that concerned if we have 80 people on the live stream while we're breaking, or if we have 10 people. The concern is getting the traction with the breaks. Yes, Wi-Fi is shit at the malls. You know what? I've actually talked to Scott. I was actually just talking to Scott Blez the other day. Next time I go down to Vegas, I am planning on going and seeing them and checking some things out and seeing their new location at their card shop. So I probably will Scott and Chad, provided I run into them, would probably be people that I do interview. Perfect. If he's going to be at the Nats, I'll probably see him then. Coaching debut is March 29th. Congratulations, David, and good luck. That's awesome. Awesome news. Coaching debut. Right on. Speaking of card shows, before we get really into the sports chat, and we're waiting again. I mentioned Dean is going to be joining us here around 6:30. Speaking of card shows, this coming Saturday at the Twin Oaks Mall, we do have the not Twin Oaks Mall. Sorry, this at the Auburn Outlet Mall. We have the Twin Oaks Card Show. That will be Saturday. If you didn't catch my update the other day, I got an email. I think it was yesterday. The Everett show that was scheduled for the first weekend of April, I believe that's the 3rd and 4th, was supposed to be a 2-day show. Was supposed to be Saturday sports cards and sports related stuff. Excuse me. With Sunday being a comic book day. It got moved, it got changed now because the Everett Mall has decided to not be open on Easter Sunday, which was the 4th, which is fine. So the second day will not take place. The comic book day will not happen. So everything's going to be there just the one day. I don't know if he's going to combine comic books into Saturday, or if he's just going to look for another day to do the Everett Mall show. But if you were planning on going for the second day of the Twin Oaks Everett show on April 4th, on Easter Sunday, it is not taking place. So adjust your schedules, go to the Saturday show. Sorry. Man, something stuck in my throat. So check out the Saturday show. It'll be a blast. I'm looking forward to that location. I've never done a card show at that location, so that should be fun. Yeah, so we have Auburn coming up this weekend, Everett 2 weeks after that, and then the following weekend after the Everett show is Portland again. So if you're in the Portland area, or if you're in a driving mood, Mall 205 in Portland, that was a pretty solid show the last month I was there. Well, this past month, I should say, in March, 2 weekends ago. That was actually a pretty solid show, and it was nice. There was a lot of collectors that I hadn't seen in a couple of years, and then there was some collectors who I've talked to on Twitter and known on Twitter for a couple of years that never went to that show originally and popped out to that show, and I got to meet a few of them. So that was a lot of fun getting to see those guys. So yeah, Twin Oaks Card Show. I will be updating the website on the events page with the right now the last event I have listed on there is Auburn. I will be adding Everett, the next Portland, the next Auburn. So I'll be adding at least through the end of April onto the website here shortly. But you can always check out twinoaksshows.com for the up-to-date schedule. Let's see here. What else we got? Oh, Taylor, by the way, we had talked about some badges for card shows that have like Twitter handle, name, that kind of stuff to wear at local card shows. My wife is actually working on some prototype designs during the show right now, and she's going to put those together. And then what I will do is anybody who wants a badge, these will not come with a lanyard at the moment. This is just going to be a badge, so you have to provide your own lanyard. Anybody that wants one, they're going to be laminated. You just send me your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle, and your name, and we'll put it on there. And so you'll have a lanyard that will have your contact or your Twitter handle, your social media handles, and your name, so that people know who you are. That way, if they're following you or interact with you, because you don't always know what somebody looks like on social media, you now will have a way to see. So what I'll do is anybody in the area that wants to register, they send me their information. They come check in at the Sports Stuff Hub table, and they'll get their badge. And then down the road, I'm hoping to make some Sports Stuff Hub lanyards, or order them, have them custom done, however. And so if people want a lanyard as well, they can actually buy the lanyard. I'm going to try to hopefully get them, so I can, just sell them for like $3. I'm hoping I can buy them for around $3 a piece. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really care if anybody wants to buy it from around or order them from around the country, for their own, for doing card shows wherever. If somebody wants to order or ask for a Sports Stuff Hub badge to put on a lanyard that has their social media info on it, I'll send them wherever. I don't care. Just pay the shipping for it. We're good to go. So that is, hopefully we'll have that in play for this next card show for Auburn this weekend, so that people can start asking for their lanyard or their badge and stuff. Just waiting on Dean to show up, so we're going to get into, now that we've already talked about the big announcement. So again, breaks. Yeah, breaks. Be watching for that. I will have that up and running here soon, posting info, and as long as dates don't change on the release date for Select, expect it to be March 31st. So, let's see here. Getting into a little bit in the NFL world now, since we're about ready for Dean to pop in here. A lot has happened over the last 48 hours. The non-tampering period officially started yesterday, and we had a fair amount of action right out the gate between last week's massacre week and this week. The paydays were coming left and right, especially by the Patriots. I'm sure you guys all saw the Patriots just go absolutely berserk signing people. So we're going to be talking about that here shortly. Dean looks like he's about ready, and as soon as he's ready, we're going to pop in, and we'll be going over quite a bit of that. Doesn't look like he's quite ready yet. But we will be talking about a lot of the teams and what free agents were picked up, or what trades were done. The AFC East is going to look completely different this year. I will say that right now. The Bills picked up a couple of good players that are going to help out their offense, especially Emmanuel Sanders, who was cut by the Saints, just signed a one-year deal later, I think it was this afternoon, with the Bills. Obviously won't take effect until his official release with the Saints. But then they also agreed to a 3-year contract with offensive tackle Darrell Williams, and that's going to help bolster their offensive line. On top of that, they agreed to a 3-year contract with guard John Feliciano. So again, bolstering their offensive line. And this is looking like Buffalo is going to be in one of those rich get richer type situations. Because when we have a team who really wasn't struggling on the offensive line quite as bad as, quite a few other teams in the NFL, and they strengthen their offensive line the way they just did, and add a very talented Emmanuel Sanders to their receiving core with a quarterback like Josh Allen, they could be dangerous. They also then agreed to terms on a 3-year contract with punter Matt Hake, and then a 4-year contract with linebacker Matt Milano, and that should help their defense as well, because their defense, for as good as they were in 2019, kind of took a step back in 2020. They still weren't horrible, and they really kind of got their footing about midway through the season where they started playing better, but they were rough to start the season, and depth with Matt Milano should definitely help them. 4-year, $41.5 million contract, worth 21.5 of it over the first 2 years. So Matt Milano should really come in immediately and be a good piece for them right out the gate. Still in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins signed a depth for quarterback at Jacoby Brissett. He signed a 1-year, $5 million contract. On top of that, they signed free agent running back Malcolm Brown, who formerly with the LA Rams, who did very well with the Rams when he was given opportunities. And then they made a trade with the Titans, offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson. So that should help their offensive line. And then in that trade, they also got a 22 7th-round pick, and they gave up a 21 7th-round pick. The trade does not become official, obviously, till the start of the new league year, blah, 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 the 17th. Then also, in a trade with the Texans, the Dolphins picked up linebacker Benardrick McKinney, and they gave up Shaq Lawson. So Lawson goes to Texans, and McKinney ends up with the Dolphins. Again, trade doesn't become official until the 17th. And then looks like they picked up a punter as well after they let Matt Hake go. Michael Pilardi, 1-year deal, punter. And he's a pretty damn good punter, too. We're not going to cover the Patriots right now because there's a lot to go over, and I'm going to be going over that with Dean, because we're also going to be talking a little bit about their salary cap situation as well. And so we're talking about the AFC East. Still another short list here is the Jets. The Jets agreed to a 3-year deal with wide receiver Corey Davis, formerly of the Titans. That's a good signing for them, especially given the quarterback situation, if they do make a trade for somebody such as Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson or Jimmy Garoppolo, really anybody that comes into this situation, bringing Corey Davis in, who's been a successful wide receiver with the Titans, this makes it look more appealing for a quarterback coming in. So that should help their situation quite a bit. They also signed a 3-year deal with defensive end Carl Lawson and linebacker Gerard Davis on a 1-year deal. And then they franchise tagged, we talked about this last week, they did franchise tag safety Marcus May. So the AFC East is going to look quite a bit different, with the potential of the entire set of teams looking very competitive. Bills, obviously, but the Patriots are not going to be a 7-9 team like last year, especially based on who they picked up in the offseason here. They had the most salary cap space going into free agency, and Bill Belichick made some moves. That was craziness. And again, I'm not going to get into it too much right now. I'm going to talk about that when Dean gets on. I see he's struggling with his camera a little bit right now, so hopefully we'll have him on here in a few minutes. But then the Jets making some key moves, and then Miami making some good moves as well. Switching gears over to the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens agreed to a 3-year deal with offensive guard Kevin Zeitler. That, again, should really help bolster that offensive line and give Lamar Jackson a little bit more time to throw or decide to take off and run. Defensive end Tyus Bowser re-signing with the team on a 4-year, $22 million deal that could be worth up to $27 million with $12 million in guarantees. After the losses that they had in free agency, getting Tyus Bowser back was big for them, as well as Pernell McPhee re-signed to a 1-year deal. On top of that, defensive tackle Justin Ellis re-signed to a 1-year deal. Defensive line Derek Wolfe re-signing on a 3-year. Yes, David, yes. Mike Hilton, which we're about to talk about here shortly. The Cincinnati Bengals staying in the AFC North here. They re-signed quarterback Brandon Allen to a 1-year contract to give them some depth so that they have a quarterback in case Joe Burrow gets hurt again. Defensive end Trey Hendrickson signed a 4-year, $60 million deal that includes $32 million in the first 2 years. Cincinnati definitely has 2 areas that were hurting them this past year. Offensive line, obviously Joe Burrow got hurt, but number 2, on the defensive line. Their defense could not generate a pass rush, and it didn't look good, and then their defensive backs just were getting torched. After that, then they brought in cornerback Chidobe Awuzie, signed a 3-year deal. That should help. He's a former Pro Bowler, so that should help shore up the backside a little bit. And then, as we talked, former Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Mike Hilton, one of my favorite corners of this newer generation of Steelers players, signed a 4-year deal worth $24 million with the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the best blitzing cornerbacks in the NFL today. I wish him the best, except when he's playing the Steelers. I hope he gets torched. But I love Mike Hilton. He's a special breed, and I look forward to continued success in his career. Especially for, being an undrafted free agent, been cut by 2 teams before Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh does well grabbing guys like that. Look at James Harrison. So, honestly, I wouldn't doubt it if, James Harrison came back twice. Maybe Mike Hilton will be back in a couple of years. Would love to see it. It's a great player. And then they also re-signed their long snapper, Clark Harris. A little bit of a quiet free agency start for the Browns, but they did agree to a 1-year deal with defensive end Takk McKinley. A lot of us probably remember Takk from the draft a couple years ago with the Atlanta Falcons, and then also his autographed rookie cards that were, didn't they just say TAK? And it was like a really bad looking autograph. So yeah, card collectors remember stuff like that. And then the Cleveland Browns did snag a fantastic safety, 3-year deal with John Johnson. And that one's going to hurt because I liked him and I really didn't want to see him in Cleveland. And now Pittsburgh is going to have to play him twice a year. Pittsburgh Steelers have had a rather quiet offseason so far. They did re-sign or agree to re-sign wide receiver Ray McCloud, which could really help the special teams, and I'm pretty sure that's why they did it. And then they also re-signed Washington local favorite, offensive tackle Zach Banner. 2-year deal with the team, and a $9.5 million deal, including a $3.25 million signing bonus. Congratulations, Zach Banner. I'm looking forward to seeing his continued progress. They also signed offensive lineman B.J. Finney and cornerback Cam Sutton. They re-signed him to a 2-year deal. So that's the AFC North. 1 second here. Looks like I'm having an issue with Dean on his audio. He can't hear me apparently. Give me 1 second here. See if I can get him. Oh, let's see. You guys can all hear me, I'm assuming, because you've been talking to me. How about now, Dean? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I don't know why. I don't know why he can't hear me. Can you hear me now, Dean? Can you hear me? No? Okay, we are having some audio problems. Let's see. Well, let's see if this works. Can you hear me now? Oh. Still no. I gotta fix that too. Sorry guys, give me 1 second here. I don't know why we're having an issue with the audio. That's not doing anything. Can you hear me now, Dean? I can't hear you either. Can you say something, Dean? I think he's on mute too. Sorry guys, I apologize for this. I don't know why we are having an issue. Microphone. Can you hear me, Dean, at all? No? Got nothing. Well, this is poopy. Ah, man. Let me see, let me change something real quick. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Still no. Still no. Okay. Camera source. Is your computer muted? I'm going to laugh if it's Dean's computer. Oh, I apologize, guys. Yeah. I can't hear you either, Dean. Mm-mm. Yeah, WTF. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
There. All right. I just re-clicked on all the settings that were already activated. I wondered if it just had a hiccup of some sort. I literally just clicked the same exact stuff that was already in play.
That's so weird.
So, ladies and gentlemen, joining me, finally we got it figured out. Dean Smith Richard.
Oh, what's up, buddy? How's the silent show going?
Oh, that was fantastic. That was fun staring at your pretty face and not being able to hear your ugly voice.
I liked it better when your internet crapped out.
Yeah, that was fun last weekend.
Yeah, it's always got to be something, right?
Right.
Can't be easy.
Well, and hopefully, once I get the studio built and I don't have to dual purpose all my stuff, I don't have to have any settings get erased when I shut everything down because it's all gonna stay how it was.
There you go. We live like 2 miles apart. We should just do this live.
Once we get studio built, absolutely. I don't have room in my office right now to do
That's
two
true.
people.
That's true.
But once the studio's built, multiple cameras, multiple places to sit. I actually just ordered an HD video camera today that's going to be my main camera for this one right here. Instead of using my webcam, that's just going to be used for breaking, and then the actual HD video camera so that you guys will get to see all of this in HD.
Nobody wants. I hope you're not charging for this.
I'm going to start wearing a mask.
Right.
Oh, man. So
it's okay. Nothing happened in the sports world at all.
Oh my God! So right?
There's nothing going on.
Absolutely. Holy, the amount of crap that hit the fan over the last 48 hours. My Twitter feed, people have to be absolutely annoyed as shit. Especially the non-NBA or the non-NFL people. I'm curious if I did lose any followers.
I think
what I was at.
It comes with the territory, though. Like you just know that whatever period it's going through. I piss everybody else off this time of year with baseball stuff. So
that's true. That's true. And it's funny because if people are following me and they don't watch the NFL, I'm kind of like, why are you here?
What other great content are you here for?
Yeah, my content on my Twitter especially is like, I would say probably 35% sports cards and then like 70% or 65% football. So, with a splash of basketball and football.
Little splash. Yeah.
Little splash. Oh man. So
you know what? On that topic though, what's been so bizarre is, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's COVID and everything that's been going on that makes it seem this way, but we used to just see tampering during the legal tampering period. And now it's, we had the Goff Stafford trade and everything even before that. And now it's just, oh no, guys are getting essentially inked to deals seconds into this tampering period.
Well, and they did explain it. Teams weren't allowed to talk to players, but teams could talk to agents.
Exactly.
And it just became this bizarre series of events over the last week. You know, we had Massacre Week last week, where people were getting cut left and right to save salary cap room. People were getting restructured, getting their salary switched over to signing bonuses, which then circumvented the cap because certain things affect the cap and certain things don't affect the cap, and then voidable years in the contracts. And all I will
And
say is that after this season, you're going to see the CBA reworked, because teams are going to be like, you can't sign 18 players and only have it affect $20 million on your salary cap, but pay them $250 million. Patriots.
well, and the
Because,
Rams, we talked about that last week. Where, oh my God, they're in cap trouble and they're going out and handing out $20 million deals. Where do you? Again, there's always a way, but yeah,
yep.
the thing I was really thinking. I went back and watched what we talked about last week a little bit, and I was just like the 2023-24 Super Bowl winner is being determined this offseason.
Yes.
Because by that point, everybody's going to have a bajillion dollars of cap space. It's not going to be as big of an issue as it was. And it's going to be the guys who make smart deals this offseason that are going to put themselves in a much, much better position next year, but really 2-3 years after that. If they make some smart moves, I think there's going to be some teams that are going to set themselves up for a lot of success by taking advantage of the market the way it is right now.
Well, and I think based on what I'm hearing is that the anticipation is the salary cap is going to grow exponentially between now and 25 because of the TV contracts. Because what this last season has done, because of reducing the fans being able to attend games, because now the stadiums weren't generating profit. Because typically, obviously, you have anybody that's played Madden franchise mode, for example, knows, you know, the amount for your sodas and the amount for your beers and the amount for the peanuts and the popcorn, all this kind of stuff. All that comes into play, as well as the ticket prices and all the rights that are given within the stadium, the advertising within the stadium. Everything is, I mean, that's hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue every year.
And that's the bigger part of it right there, is the advertising.
Yep.
And the
and what this past season did was it put a massive spotlight on television contracts, because the question now, if we open things back up, or even if they have to restrict, amount of people this next season in the stadiums, where is the revenue going to come from? So we're going to make television contracts bigger. And so either way, they're going to find a way to get the money. And that's apparently this television contract they're working on right now, or potentially already signed, is aiming at roughly having about a $250 million salary cap by 2025, which is $68 million more than it is this year.
But that's $68 million more than it is this year, because there's things that really factor into that. Is the salary cap this year was supposed to be 199, 200. Yep. And because of all of that, which again, I don't, you got the owners crying poor, but like we talked about a little bit last week with Kevin Mather pulling the curtain back on the Mariners, these owners aren't hurting. These guys are billionaires.
Right.
The NFL's not hurting for money. Don't say because you couldn't pack in 60,000 people that you had already sold season tickets to. Don't cry poor to me because you couldn't sell your $15 beer. They're making most of their money in other places. So this is really just a way for them to save a few bucks that they don't really need to spend. But that's a whole other discussion. But the salary cap was supposed to be closer to 200 million. We're already on that natural upward trajectory. Going towards 250 is a perfectly reasonable number, the way things have been going when we get to about 2025. So that's the thing that just makes it so interesting this year, is the salary cap's going to rebound in a hurry as soon as this is over, probably by next off season, because of that TV deal. Is then the other factor is that's something that's also been naturally occurring. while yeah, stadiums are still packed to the rafters, honestly, where's the better viewing experience? You know, you're getting more bang for your buck at home. And yeah, it's really easy to go and watch some of the more successful teams like we've seen here in Seattle with CenturyLink, Lumen Field, whatever it is these days, always packed to the rafters because there's that portion of people who are going to want to go and have that experience. And obviously it's a fun experience. But, you know, if you're a fan of not a winning team or a non-local team, your viewing experience is already much better at home. And we've really seen even this year, the TV's been knocked it out of the park. They brought some really great new stuff to it, and that's just on a game by game experience, and that doesn't factor in red zone and all of that. You know, that's my favorite kind of bye week activity, or when there's not a specific game I'm paying attention to. I wasn't sold on red zone when it started, but my God, it's fun to watch. It's done really well, and it makes what can be slow games at times is make the whole Sunday a lot more interesting. So I think that decline in in-person viewership was already starting to come. And now it's just been accelerated a lot, and the TV stations are absolutely going to pounce, and the NFL is going to pounce, and they're right to do so.
Well, and it sounds like also because of the Sunday ticket deal that has been exclusive with DirecTV for a number of years, sounds like 2021, I believe, is the final year of the deal. And so the NFL is going to be negotiating on whether to extend that or open it up to a different company. I personally believe that if Amazon has if they're given the opportunity to bid on that, they'll snatch that up.
Yeah, and we've already seen them trying to get Thursday Night Football exclusively.
That supposedly is in this next deal.
Yeah. So we're seeing that. I think exclusivity kind of harms the overall product, but companies have to make that play to try for it. So I get it from that perspective, but I think that'll be the thing that kind of turns it back around is like we've seen with all the streaming services. When Netflix was the only game in town, it was awesome. And I can save $100 a month by cutting cable, but now that there's 10 of them, it's more of a pain than it is as anything else. So it'll be curious to see if the plan backfires a little bit in that way.
I don't necessarily know if I think it would backfire. I think if they open up more ways to watch out of market games, it'll be a benefit regardless how they do it. As long as the availability is there, it'll be successful. It's when you limit things to things like, for example, DirecTV, where the only way you can get Sunday ticket prior to this season anyways, the only way you could get Sunday ticket was by signing up for DirecTV, and that's not something people are going to do. It's one thing to get a cable package that has the NFL network so you can watch the Thursday game. It's a whole nother thing when you're talking about subscribing to a company to provide the entire service of providing your TV.
Yeah.
And I personally believe that the NFL Sunday ticket package with DirecTV exclusivity was overdone years ago. That should have been kicked to the curb before the last contract was renewed, and they should have anticipated the way the world was changing, and they should have moved on to doing it a different way, because it's such an archaic way to force people to have to sign up to a TV subscriber for it.
Yeah, and that's it exactly. Is I watch all of 3 non-sports things on TV. I don't need 2,000 channels of stuff I don't watch, and I definitely don't want to pay for it, especially with all the options that are out there. Like you said, it was a great product in 2002 when that was the only way to watch TV, but it's an entirely different product now. And that's assuming you want to watch just football. That's just the NFL. What happens if you're over here on the West Coast and you want the Pac-12 network? Well, now that's an entirely different problem because that's exclusive to another cable provider. And what happens if I want to watch Major League Baseball? Do I need to get MLB TV if I'm an Angels fan living in Seattle? Well, there's another thing I have to pay for. And there's another thing, and there's another thing. And now there's just too many options, too many online options. And I'm definitely not recommending that anyone go pirate any of it. It's out there, and with internet capabilities, it's pretty easy to just stream it straight to your TV for $0. So that's where I'm at with it. Is it's just how many things am I going to pay for to watch the games that I want to watch?
Exactly. And this next season now with Sports Stuff Hub Live going in full go, because I have Sunday Ticket every year, and I need a better way to do it because I technically shouldn't have it anymore because I've signed up for it when I had the apartment, when I last lived in an apartment. And if you have an apartment or a rental, or if you're a college student or any form like that, you can actually get Sunday Ticket. You can apply to get Sunday Ticket. They have to review it and approve you, and then you can actually have Sunday Ticket without having DirecTV. And that's how I've had it for the last number of years.
Come after you, bro.
What's that?
They're going to come after you.
Oh yeah.
DirecTV Gestapo after you.
Yeah, they're going to. I bet you anything, because now we've bought our house a couple of years ago. I bet you anything I won't be able to do it this year. They'll see the credit card billing statement, because I still have to pay the full amount for it. Right. I also don't get the discounts or anything that a DirecTV subscriber would get, so I have to pay full price for it. But with having the business now, obviously it can be a tax write-off for me. But I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get it going forward. So obviously, if I do have it this next year, when we have the remodel done, there's going to be 3 TVs in the living room, plus the studio is going to have multiple TVs. So I'm going to have 5 games on at all times.
Back to spending Sundays at your place.
Wouldn't be the first time. So, all right. So getting into all the shitstorm that happened over the last 48 hours in the NFL. You couldn't hear me a few minutes ago, but I was kind of going through the AFC East minus the Patriots, because that's a lot to cover, and I wanted to have you on here before I dug into that. And then I also did cover the AFC North. Getting over to the Patriots. And it's funny because a lot of people were so surprised, because through the Bill Belichick era, he's never gone banana balls like this in free agency. This is the most he's ever spent during free agency, the fastest he's ever spent this kind of money. He was kind of like Oprah. A bunch of people were putting up that Oprah gift where she's like, hey, you get in, you get a card, you get a card, you get a. And it was hilarious watching people react to this.
I'm very curious to see how his all tight end offense works. It's going to be interesting.
He's probably going to run it quite similar to how he had Gronk and Hernandez. I mean, if he runs 2 tight end sets, a bunch of people were pointing that out at first. They were like, "Oh yeah, was Jonnu Smith made aware when he signed the contract that they were still going to target Hunter Henry?" And I'm like, it's no different than if they brought in a big name wide receiver. It's not going to affect his targets at all if they run 2 tight end sets versus 3 wide receivers in a tight end.
Well, and just to address that question, because I got the same question in a couple different ways, is it doesn't matter because we're getting these deals announced and everything, but he's not bound to it. There's no way he wasn't going to know, because he can't sign that deal until tomorrow.
Correct. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. when the new league year starts.
Exactly.
Which is when everybody has to be under the salary cap by that point.
Exactly. So it's not even a matter of was he made aware of, whether or not the Patriots did. If he doesn't like it, he obviously knew today, because all that news is getting out there. So don't forget, we are still legally, as far as the NFL is concerned, in a tampering period, a discussion period, if you will. So no pen has been put to paper, or can be. Nothing's binding until tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's the thing to keep in mind when you look at, oh, did this guy know this guy was also signing with X team? Yeah, they absolutely did, because they're on Twitter too.
Yep. Well, and here's what it boils down to. Put yourself in the position of being an extremely successful tight end in the NFL, and Bill Belichick comes and calls your agent and says, we're rebuilding the Patriots, and we want to go back to a solid offense where we jam-pack 2 tight ends on the line, and we run routes running 2 tight ends. We want to bring you in. We want to bring in another good receiving tight end as well, and we're going to pay you like $4 million a year to do so. Do you say no to that?
It depends on who you are and what you're looking for. I think there's a lot of tight end needy teams out there. and obviously I'm not any of these guys' agent, but so you assume they're working the phones to see what kind of deal they can get elsewhere from other tight end needy teams. But the Patriots are an interesting sell right now. How much are they without Tom Brady? How much do you believe in Bill Belichick as a coach? Obviously, one of, if not the greatest of all time, but coming off a down year, do you believe that you can help build that back to what it was in what's a much stronger division than it's ever been before? Or do you want to take your chances somewhere else? So there's two sides to that coin. The Patriots have always been a powerhouse, but I don't think they're the attractive destination that they were in years past.
Well, not having Tom Brady automatically reduces the attractiveness.
Especially as a pass catcher, right? Especially as a pass catcher.
Correct.
You look at Cam Newton, and I don't think Cam has lost all of his mojo or whatever, but he's definitely not the guy he was, and he was never Tom Brady. So that's the thing you have to look at. And obviously there's guys who have chosen to put their faith in Belichick and Cam's ability. I don't think he'll be a bottom tier quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. The cupboard was pretty bare last year, which is why Bill Belichick is making these moves. But yeah, again, I think that's a pretty hard sell.
Well, and you also had Cam, who kind of came late to the party because he wasn't signed to the Patriots until, August 1st of last year.
Yeah.
So he got zero work with any of the team. You had tight ends and wide receivers last year that were constantly hurt, so he couldn't build any chemistry with them. Offensive line that were in and out. 3/4 of their defense opted out of the season last year. So, I mean, it makes sense that the Patriots were 7-9 last year. In all honesty, I kind of was surprised that they finished 7-9.
I was looking at that earlier today, and I definitely didn't remember them being a 7-9 team. They felt much more like a 4 or 5 win team last year.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that was, I would almost say, the only reason why they won 7 games was because of Bill Belichick.
Absolutely, and don't forget that really they were a play away from beating Seattle in Seattle, and they were pretty close in a couple other games. So for as not great as they felt at points last year, they also could have just as easily been an 8 or 9 win team, which still wouldn't have been a whole lot of noise, but it would have changed the landscape quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, when you look at it, Cam Newton had 4 or 5 passing touchdowns the entire season is all it was. Yeah. It was extremely low, almost embarrassing low for a starting quarterback. So
who caught a touchdown last year for the Patriots?
Well, there was that one guy, and then there was that other guy.
And then, like, your little brother, I think, might have been the only other receiver they had on the roster. The cover was really, really bare. So
yeah.
That's then the selling point. Again, it's what you want to be as a receiver or as a football player. Is are you the guy who came in and really helped the Patriots get back to it? So that's why we're seeing those moves.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at it, they brought in Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, and I'm not saying those 2 guys are going to completely redefine the team, but they're guys who don't have injury issues. And Kendrick Bourne is an up-and-coming wide receiver. He's a strong-bodied wide receiver, and he kind of reminds me of who the Panthers drafted Kelvin Benjamin to be to pair with Cam Newton.
I read an interesting statistic today of Bourne's 137 receptions, 100 are for first downs or for touchdowns.
I'm sorry, say that again.
137 receptions, 100 of them were for first downs or touchdowns.
Holy crap. I did not know that. That's an impressive stat.
That's a bonkers stat. And so you look at a team that had 4 or 5 passing touchdowns all last year, that had trouble moving the ball in critical situations. You bring in a guy who's pretty automatic to get you a first down, to keep the chains moving, who's gonna be automatic in the red zone. That's a valuable piece. He might not, he's not gonna be DK Metcalf, Julio Jones, any of these absolute top tier guys, but we've seen a lot of guys, especially with teams like the Patriots, make a living moving the chains, and that's a guy you need and you can build around.
Absolutely. That's crazy. I did not know that at all about him.
It's not long because my jaw hit the floor. It's just like,
that's nuts. Well, and we know that Nelson Aguilar has shown streaks of very solid wide receiver play. Granted, yes, he's had issues in the past with drops, but when he's, I don't want to say fixed the these issues, when he's actually stepped up and he catches the rock, he's a dangerous receiver.
Yep. Yep.
So I would almost say that they look like they could be a dangerous offense next year, especially if they do target. What I'm hearing a lot of rumors is that they're going to be targeting a running back still yet in free agency, and if they end up getting, God, who are some of the running backs left in free agency?
I mean, Jones is out there. I don't think they make a play for Jones.
Aaron Jones,
$12 million.
Are you talking about Aaron Jones?
Yeah.
No, he's back with Green Bay.
Oh, did he? I missed that. Okay.
It sounds like Jamal Williams. What's that?
Fournette is who I heard them linked to the most. That doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me, but Fournette's gonna just live off of that draft stock forever, man.
Yeah. But I mean, they also could have taken a shot at a guy like Jamal Williams, who's going to be a free agent now.
Right.
And he's been a good, the number 2 in the 1-2 punch in Green Bay. One thing I will say I'm excited about. Moving over to Green Bay real quick, I just want to say this. I'm actually excited for A.J. Dillon running the rock with being the number 2 with Aaron Jones. I think that's going to be a fantastic situation.
I think so. Green Bay is lethal right now. I had them going all the way last year, and they haven't really lost anything of significance. Obviously, their center, his name escapes me at the moment, and Aaron Jones. But I think that's a deep team. That's a smart drafting team. They're gonna make a lot of noise again next season.
I think so. Okay, moving over further into the Patriots' onslaught of signings. So we got Aguilar and Bourne. Obviously, they brought back Cam Newton. We talked about Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. They shored up their offensive line by trading with Las Vegas for former Patriot and behemoth of a man, Trent Brown.
Mm-hmm.
An offensive lineman that quite literally makes a man Aaron Donald's size look small. Did you see those pictures?
Yeah, he's humongous.
He's like 6 inches taller and wider than Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald is a massive dude. Unbelievable.
Yeah. But you look at the way they used Cam last year in a very smart way, which, as much as, I hate to say it out loud, is where Bill Belichick is an absolute genius, is he didn't try to take a guy like Cam Newton and force him into a Tom Brady mold. He really used him in smart and creative ways. And the only time it didn't work was that line stand against Seattle. And so getting a guy like Brown back on that line to block for when Cam runs, for those short, especially in short yardage situations, especially if they get a speed back, to pair with now those tight end options and good receivers on the outside and underneath, that's going to be an offense with a lot of options. And those are all guys, every single one of them. I think I am a pretty big high on Smith and Henry, but we talked about flawed receivers, guys who aren't perfect, aren't necessarily big names, but they're definitely an upgrade from what they had last year. And Bill Belichick makes his hay off of bringing in guys who aren't the big names necessarily. And while he's made big splashes in free agency by the number of guys and the number of dollars, we're not talking about the biggest names in free agency out there that he's brought in, except from the tight end market. And this isn't Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham hitting the open market in their heyday. These are guys who are good, solid, reliable tight ends. And so he's turned his offense into something reliable, and then it's going to come down to his creativity in using all of them and getting the most out of them. That's going to make them probably back to a 10-11 win team. I don't see them pushing past Buffalo in the division, but Miami's still kind of an iffy prospect. See what they do with their 2 first-round picks and how Tua develops. But that division's not the cakewalk it used to be. But Bill Belichick's not going to give up. He had his down year, and he knows what he needs to do now, and he's going to commit to it. So I think he'll at least be successful to, probably a second or third place finish in that division and possibly a wild card.
Well, and really what it's going to boil down to is how the offense can put up points, and if they can put up points. A lot of this is going to fall on Cam Newton's shoulders, or whatever quarterback ends up under center if Cam Newton isn't up to it.
And not even just based on talent. At this point, you have to bank on the fact that Cam's going to miss probably 4 or 5 games minimum. His injuries are there. He's played a very physical brand of football for a quarterback. He's taken a lot of hits and a lot of hard tackles in his years, and 2 of them have gotten flagged. So,
and that's one thing that you and I talked about multiple times with this past season with Cam Newton was his physical style of play, and as he's aged, he has not adjusted his game at all. No. And he still tries to run and play like he's 25, 26 years old, and he's not. And his body can't hold up like that, being punished over and over again. We had the same conversation with Russell Wilson. Your body gets punished over and over again. It takes away aspects of your game because your body can't hold up when you're getting into your 30s and being hit like that. We know we're in our 30s.
Exactly. Well, and that's always been, the smartest part of Russell Wilson's game is that it's not that he's the only guy who's ever played the style of football he is, but he never did what Robert Griffin did, what we see Lamar Jackson doing a lot. I think Mahomes has learned from him from having a pretty similar style. He doesn't take the hit he doesn't need to take. And yeah, he's taking a lot of punishment behind the line, but once he gets out into space, he's not absorbing the hits that guys like Cam Newton and Robert Griffin do. And hey guys, I get fighting for an extra yard here and there, but you're not a running back. You're more, the 40 yards you're going to throw for on the next play is more valuable than the 1 extra yard you're going to get right now.
Well, and some of that does come into play with Russell Wilson's size. He's not a 6'3", 6'4", 225, 240 pound quarterback. He's 5'9" on a good day. So, lowering his shoulder and taking. What's that?
He's 5'11".
Okay.
He's scraping 6 foot. He's scraping 6 foot. He's not Kyler Murray.
Well, yeah, and Kyler Murray is pretty small.
Yeah.
Call him. But my point being still stands as he's not a guy who's lining up, taking on, going shoulder down against a 6'3" linebacker that's pushing 260. That's just not smart when you're a smaller quarterback.
Right.
It's one thing if you're Cam Newton's size or Ben Roethlisberger's size or Josh Allen's size, but when you're a Drew Brees, when you're Russell Wilson, when you're Kyler Murray, taking guys like that on that's a quick way to a fast, short career.
Well, and like you said, once you're on the wrong side of the career, which Cam is now, you're not recovering from those just the way you did when you were in your mid-20s. So that's the part of his game. Like you said, he just hasn't adjusted that to take smarter hits, to take fewer hits. That's always been my knock on him is while the physicality has always been there, the level of effort and the adaptability has not. We saw that famously in the Super Bowl of not fighting for a fumble in a critical situation. So yeah, being willing to take a shot in football is one thing, but it's the effort and the commitment and the adjustment there, because we see it with every single one of these guys. The league figures you out and they figure you out fast. And so you have to be adjusting and be one step ahead. And I don't know that that's a part of his game that he's always brought. If there's anybody in the league who can get it out of him, it's Bill Belichick. So we'll see how this year plays out.
So, sticking with the Patriots talk here for a minute, and I don't want people to think we're a big Patriots show by any of the stretch of the imagination. Obviously, we're not. But 11 players signed or traded for already since the start of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They had just a hair under $71 million in cap space going into yesterday. And those 11 players leave them with $30 million still. So they've only used roughly $40 million in cap space for 11 freaking players, and they're all starting quality players. We're talking, Matthew Judon. We're talking Justin Bethel, Jalen Mills, Devin Godcho, Dietrich Wise, Henry Anderson, Trent Brown, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Cam Newton. 11 starter quality players for about $40 million of cap hit for 1 year.
What did I say at the outset, right? When I jumped on, the 23, 24, 25 Super Bowl winner is being determined this offseason. And it's because of a team like that and moves like that, where you're going to get quality players locked up for years at already bargain rates with cap hits that are already spread out because of the way deals have to be structured right now. So if Hunter Henry, if Jonnu Smith continue to be effective, if you have guys like Aguilar who develop, like Bourne, who continue to develop and be effective, and they're on the third or fourth years of these deals that they're signing right now, and you already have $30 million plus on the books right now, plus you can draft well, and then you go into the next couple of years where you are then, the cap is going to rebound next year, and you get back up to $200 million, and all of a sudden you're going into next offseason with $50 million of cap space. Because what's going to happen next season? What's going to happen this season? You have guys, and I'm not saying he's going to do it necessarily, but you have top shelf guys like Hassan Reddick and top shelf offensive linemen who are out there on the market right now, and they're not going to sign a 4 or 5 year deal because they're still going to be a top shelf guy next year, right? So they're going to sign a 1 year deal and say, okay, when the cap's back to normal, I'm going to sign my big deal, my 4 or 5 year deal. That's going to be real dollars. Well, what teams are going to be available? And more importantly, what competing teams are going to be available with the cap space to bring those guys on? It's going to be the teams that made these moves right now that have the bones of a 10-win team in place. And then it's, hey, Hassan, I know you signed that 1 year, $10 million deal with some scrub team. How about you come over here and join a winner? And we're going to pay you like you deserve to be paid for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you look at Patriots dynasty, like I'm not watching football anymore.
Well, they need to draft the next Tom Brady again to do that. But I mean, if we're looking at the people that they signed, Cam Newton was only a 1 year deal. I don't really see that changing anytime, between now and next year. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how they finish, if they decide to bring him on, or if they draft a quarterback this year. But let's break the rest of it down. Nelson Aguilar, 2 year. Kendrick Bourne, 3 year. Hunter Henry, 3 year. Jonnu Smith, 4 year. Trent Brown acquired via trade. And I don't know what his contract is. I haven't looked it up. Dietrich Wise, 4 year. Godcho, 2 years. Henry Anderson, 2 years. Matthew Judon, 4 years. Bethel re-signed with a 3 year. And Jalen Mills, 4 years. So, I mean, all these guys are literally, if we're talking 4 years, that is what everybody's anticipating the salary cap being at about $250 million, which is going to be 2025. All these guys are going to be turning into free agents at that point and getting paid, because that's what Bill Belichick does with guys. Yeah. He takes guys who are starter quality, who fit a system, who may not be the top tier guys at their position, but they're, maybe not quite middle of the road, but they're just above middle of the road, and gets teams to overpay for them in free agency.
Absolutely.
And these 11 guys, I could see him taking and just utilizing the shit out of them for the next 3-4 years, and then kicking them to the curb, and they get paid big bucks elsewhere and flounder.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you have the cap space to bring on other pieces that you need. They're not really hurting for draft picks, so you anticipate them having a pretty good draft this year. They always draft really well, so it's going to be a dangerous team. I don't know if they'll be super dangerous this year, but at what point Bill Belichick's going to find that next Tom Brady? You kind of have to believe that. It's hard to bet against him. And you look at the sheer number of guys out there who have gone out who are backups. You know, how many draft picks do they have? Quarterbacks that they drafted that have had solid NFL careers or are starting elsewhere right now. So they've always drafted quarterbacks well, and they found guys who are starters in this league in the later rounds. So you kind of have to believe that they're going to take somebody this year, and might not be a first rounder, but maybe a second, third, fourth round guy who's going to sit behind Newton for a year, and you see what you got next year.
All right, let's move on from the Patriots finally. Let's talk about what everybody perceives as a dumpster fire this year. When you're talking a team that everybody thinks is a dumpster fire, who do you think of?
Well, I've said it for 3 weeks running now that the Texans are the dumpster fire of the NFL.
Okay, get a load of this. The Texans' moves so far, and I mean bringing in, not outgoing.
Right.
Tyrod Taylor, 1-year deal, quarterback. Mark Ingram, 1-year deal, running back. Andre Roberts, wide receiver, 2-year deal. Offensive tackle Marcus Cannon in a trade with the Patriots. Guard Justin McCray, 2-year deal. Offensive lineman Justin Britt, versatile offensive lineman, 1-year deal. Defensive end Shaq Lawson in a trade with Miami. Defensive end Derek Rivers on a 1-year deal. Defensive tackle Malik Collins, 1-year deal. Linebacker Kamu Grieger-Hill, 1-year deal. Christian Kirksey, linebacker, 1-year deal. Cornerback Terrence Mitchell, 2-year deal. Vernon Hargraves re-signing, cornerback, re-signing a 1-year deal. And safety Terrence Brooks, a 1-year deal. Did you expect that list to be that long?
They have to field a team somehow.
Right? But
and a lot of those guys, how many football games do you win with those guys?
Well, that depends who's the coach. I mean, depending on the franchise, you could win games with it.
That's, to just draw behind the baseball, if it's a wins above replacement metric, that's on paper not a lot of wins on that team.
14 players who have had a lot of success. Their offensive line looks good. Marcus Cannon, Justin McCray, and Justin Britt. That's probably the best offensive line group of 3 people that they've had since Deshaun Watson was drafted.
But, and I said this a couple weeks ago, before free agency really kicked off, if you are an offensive lineman from the Seahawks and they're not bringing you back, and you're affordable because Britt didn't sign a massive contract down there, but if they're not bringing a fairly quality guard and / center back, what does that say about that guy?
Was it partly that he didn't want to come back, maybe? We don't know.
I have a hard time believing anybody right now wants to go to the playoffs with the Seahawks, or would rather go play in Texas than go to the playoffs with the Seahawks.
Maybe he's a Jack Easterby fan.
Yeah, he might be.
But I mean, Marcus Cannon is very good, and
yes.
Justin McCray is very good.
They are.
So I mean, when you look at that, I'm not saying that Andre Roberts is the second coming of any, of DeAndre Hopkins, for example. He's not. But when you look at Shaq Lawson, very good starting defensive end. Derek Rivers is a serviceable defensive end. Malik Collins is good. Christian Kirksey, another good linebacker. Terrence Mitchell, good cornerback. Obviously, they had Vernon Hargreaves. And then Terrence Brooks, a safety.
Yeah, it's definitely not a horrible, because these are all the bridge guys. This is everybody right now. It's the who's who of guys who want to get to the next contract next year when the salary cap is back up. Because in a normal year, these guys are all probably signing 2, 3, 4-year deals instead of 1-year, 2-year deals. So,
right, and that's one thing that Houston did do with a lot of this is 1-year deals. And that also, to me, shows the instability of the franchise, because they don't know what's going to happen with front office and management, because there's so much up in the air.
Exactly. So you're not getting long-term commitments from players. You're not giving long-term commitments to players. So what does that say about the state of your organization? Now, it might be the kind of thing where, yeah, they go out and they put 8, 9, 10 wins on the table, but that would be extremely surprising to me with this dysfunction of that organization, especially if Deshaun Watson's gone. You know, if you put him behind that offensive line, yeah, he might make something happen, but
who's he throwing to?
Yeah, exactly.
Besides Andre Roberts.
Yeah. and that's part of the reason is he's like, what are you going to bring in a 1-year rental guy for me who's okay? And when you traded away DeAndre Hopkins, like, are you kidding me? What do you do there as a quarterback? You know, you got Tyrod Taylor, who I love, and I think has just gotten a raw shake dang near everywhere he's went. But yeah, he's just a bridge guy at this point to anybody else. So there's no organizational stability there, even though they brought in quality free agents, but you brought in quality free agents on rentals. So they have no long-term vested interest in that franchise winning versus whatever one they go to next. And you're not able to attract the guys, the Hassan Reddicks, like we've been talking about, the JJ Watts walking out the door because they want to go to a winner. And you haven't done anything to make anybody believe that you're a winner.
Well, and one of the big things Diana Rossini was talking about today, ESPN analyst Diana Rossini, she has talked to a number of people with a number of coaches and GMs around the NFL as far as people who talk to Nick Caserio and people within the Houston Texans organization. And Caserio is, and I've never met Nick Caserio myself, I've never spoken to him, but everybody that's ever talked about him has said how polite he is, how inviting he is, how easy to talk to he is, and whatnot. And apparently, everybody that calls and talks to him, the moment they mention a potential trade for Deshaun Watson, conversation's over.
Right.
And the one thing that I've been standing by for a long time now, ever since Deshaun Watson voiced his frustration, was that with him stating that he wants to leave and him saying that he is more than prepared to sit out the season and force their hand, it becomes a matter of the longer you wait to do it, the less leverage you have. And if they don't trade him before the draft, they will lose an immense amount of return draft picks. Because if they trade him now, they could get 3 draft picks for him, 3 first-round draft picks. If they don't trade him until after the draft, but before June 1st, they might drop down to 2 or even 1 first-round draft pick because teams may not be willing to deal that. And they're also going to look at it and say, he's a major hit on your cap right now. We don't need to offer you crap. Because
and from the Texans' perspective, and again, not that I count on them to make the smart trade here, but you're always going to value future draft picks less than you are present draft picks. You know, if you trade for a 2021 draft pick, you know what you're getting. You know it's the 14th overall pick and the 72nd overall pick. Whereas if you're trading with a team, especially if you're trading a guy of Deshaun Watson's caliber, that team, by making that trade, is saying, hey, we're going to be a playoff team. So you're going to be, now you're picking down in the 20s, and you're hoping down 30, 31, 32. So those draft picks are far, far less valuable when you're talking about just trading them. So even if you're getting a higher quantity of them, you're anticipating receiving a lower quality.
Well, and one of the things that I guarantee they're also probably taking into consideration as well, especially with the cap the way it is. I mentioned it earlier earlier today in a tweet, that if they wait and trade him after the June 1st deadline, they'll actually save about $16 million in cap space on a post-June 1st trade. Yep. So here's really what you're looking at. Which one is more beneficial for the franchise? 3 first-round picks by trading him pre this draft, or wait, get 1 first-round draft pick, but save $16 million against the cap this year?
I think the draft picks are way more valuable because Miami has their already great first-round draft pick. So you're looking at a year where they don't have even a first round draft pick. They have 14, what is it, 14 guys you just listed off, 14 guys on 1 or 2 year deals. So you're looking at next year, you're going to have to go right back to that exact same well. So you need bodies on rookie deals. So I would, if I'm the Texans, I'm making the deal for a first this year, a first next year, probably a second and third, or a second and fourth this year, and then a third or fourth next year. Would probably get the deal done before this.
And based on those numbers that I just said, I'm guessing the reason why they haven't traded him yet and are probably going to wait until obviously after the new league year starts is to get their cap situation straightened. Because if they do trade him before June 1st, they're actually going to tack on an additional $5 million onto their cap hit, their dead cap.
The other thing you always have to take into account with these things is what happens on draft night. Is there a team that's picking in the 12 to 18 range, not quite a playoff team, middle of the road team, and they were hoping one of those guys falls to them, and then those guys go off the board in the top 10, and all of a sudden all your contingency plans are kind of out the window, or you're looking at a bunch of guys that you have a second round grade on and you need a quarterback to get over the hump. Is that when you start making the call to a team like the Texans who have a quarterback available for trade, and you get into panic mode and you start to overpay for that guy?
Well, and here's one of the other situations. For example, let's say Justin Fields, let's say they have a high draft grade on him, and they're expecting him to go number 2 overall to the Jets. Let's say the Jets don't trade away their pick and they don't draft a quarterback and they go with somebody like Penny Sewell or something like that. And so all of a sudden, spot number 4 rolls around. Miami's on the board going, let's field some calls. And the Texans go, well, Fields was our guy. He's available at number 4. If we can get Field, let's deal Watson to Miami and get our draft pick.
Does Tua come back in that package? I mean, that's
if you're drafting Fields,
right?
You wouldn't have to. What you would do is
So my point is Miami. Why is Miami going to make that trade? Do you want Watson and Tua? Tua is the biggest leverage aside from 2 first round draft picks that they have.
They could utilize Tua for a draft trade later on. Then Miami could literally trade away both of their first round picks to get a Watson, and then use Tua to get back into the first round later on with, let's say, Chicago or see who else has a later first round pick, Washington, somebody like that who's mid to late first round. Then they could use Tua to get back in.
You left off, I don't know if it's the most or least obvious ones, but you left off the most or least obvious from whichever one you want to pick it. Would the Patriots make that trade? To tie back to that,
my guess is it would depend on who's available at quarterback in the draft. I have a sneaking suspicion Patriots are going to either trade for Jimmy Garoppolo or they're going to draft their next quarterback in the first round this year, based on who's available. But I could 100% see them bringing Jimmy Garoppolo back to New England.
That'd be interesting.
Well, I mean, if they've only got Cam signed on a 1-year deal, and Cam's deal is incentive laden to be $5 or $8 million? Isn't that what it was?
I think something like that.
$8.5 million in incentives. So that's not that much, and you could trade for Jimmy G, a couple first round draft picks to kick back to him,
and that's my thought on Tua. If you started those dominoes falling of Watson to Miami for a couple of first round picks, and then if that's a guy Belichick likes, I could see him flipping a pick then back to Miami. I don't know if it'd be a first rounder, but I could see them in that direction.
Would Miami send their quarterback to New England?
The wild card to the entire 2021 NFL season to me is what Miami's coaching staff feels about Tua. I think is going to set so many things in motion.
Based on the fact that Flores is a Bill Belichick or I should say, a Patriot lineage guy, I could see him answering the call from a Bill Belichick on a trade.
Pretty crazy.
I mean, it's just like New England, it's just like Houston. Houston does the same thing with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So much has happened, and so much was going to continue to happen because there's a slug of free agents still available.
There's a ton of guys out there, and like you were saying earlier about the releases and all of that we're seeing. I think this is wave one of it. I think there's another wave of surprise releases, probably less so. But as teams now have to get under the cap, and I got to bring this guy in, and then we see it every training camp with cut day, right? Mm-hmm. Where your wide receiver 4 or 5 thinks he's safe, but then the guy who got cut by another team, your team likes more. So I think we're going to see that where some of these guys sign, and then we got to get under the cap because we have to have this guy. Well, we have this guy on our roster who's now expendable. So I think we're going to see another wave of kind of surprising cuts and good quality guys becoming available as teams juggle their rosters.
Well, and I'm looking for it right now. I saw a tweet a little bit ago that was breaking down how many teams still needed to get under the cap by 4 p.m. tomorrow. And it was down to like 6 or 7 teams, I think. So we probably will see a couple more cuts. I wouldn't doubt it. We saw a couple today, not a ton, but I could see having 4 or 5. We're going to see some restructures still, obviously. Yep. But I could see, I want to say the Rams were one, the Eagles were one. So we're going to see a few more teams still cutting some people. I'm trying to find that dang. I thought I retweeted it, but I guess not. Anyway, there's still a lot that's going to happen in the next.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's almost 8:00 right now, so there's a lot that's going to happen.
There's a lot that's going to happen, and then leading up to the draft, I think that's going to, we've got potential major draft day trades that could still happen with, Watson, Wilson, all of these guys, to somebody finally blow Seattle away with an offer. I don't think so, but it's on the table, and there just keeps being buzz about it. So.
Well, and it doesn't sound like Chicago's going to go after him anymore because they kind of gave up after Seattle balked at whatever offer they made. I don't know what offer they made Seattle. All these rumors were flying that Chicago was going to push hard. What that means, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think, because the word out of Seattle is that they just don't. We'll listen to your call, and it's what we said 3-4 weeks ago when you asked me about it. Is you pick up the phone and you listen. Hey, what did it take to get Russell Wilson? I don't know. What are you offering? 2 first-round picks. All right, thanks for the call. That's
right.
Picking up the phone. That's listening to offers, and every general manager is doing that every single off season. It doesn't matter how stupid it is. Sometimes you make the call, and we all play fantasy football with that one guy. So there's all those general managers out there who are going to do that. And Chicago is going to call and keep proposing a dumb trade, and you're going to say, hey, get on my level or stop calling. And to me, the price of a top 5 quarterback like Russell Wilson, you could even possibly put him in the top 3, but that's not the point of the conversation. Is that he's a top tier quarterback, and what's the price tag on him? Watson is close, and we're talking about 3 first-round picks plus. So, to me, to get Russell Wilson away would take a Herschel Walker deal. It would be every pick in this year's draft plus something, and nobody's going to pull the trigger on that in today's NFL. So the price is just not there. Nobody's going to make that trade.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think the price tag for Russell Wilson would match the Deshaun Watson price tag, and a lot of that comes with the fact that Deshaun Watson's on the right side of 30 and Russell Wilson's on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
So, and we also look at it. take a look at the two different styles of play. While Deshaun Watson is mobile, Russell Wilson is more mobile, or we should say more of a runner and different style of offense.
Yeah, so it's just going to be really interesting to see where all these dominoes fall, and if somebody just gets really stupid on draft day.
True. But let's stop and laugh for 1 second while I've got you here. Andy Dalton to the Bears.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. The perfect memes today were the how it started versus how it's going, and it was a picture of Russell Wilson, Bears fans chasing Russell Wilson to Andy Dalton getting signed by the Bears. I almost peed. I laughed so hard. I gotta admit. That was great.
It's beautiful. Can they bring Mike Glennon back so we can just have?
Oh my God!
You know, the thing is, like, we mock Cleveland because it's Cleveland for years for the bad luck that they've had with quarterbacks, but 90% of those guys, it was bad luck. In the guys they got at the top of the draft, it wasn't like they had these tremendous reaches. We were like, what on earth are they thinking, right? They made a few bad decisions, absolutely, but like it was never like, oh my God, this is the worst draft pick ever. And you get the Bears who just Trubisky, Glennon. How much did they pay Mike Glennon? Like what, 2 years ago?
A lot, yeah. Way more than they should have.
Yeah. The best, or the most success, I shouldn't say the best. That's way out of context. But the most success they had was with Rex freaking Grossman. Like, these were decisions they made. These were choices they made. And you're just, how?
Yeah, the Bears have been interesting.
Yeah. And they're not in a position there. That's why they're going hard after Russell Wilson, whether or not they stand any chance of success. That's why they have to make that play, is because they're not in a position to draft anybody either.
Right. Well, and the funny thing was, the people who were saying that Russell Wilson is already the best Bears quarterback and he hasn't even been traded to the Bears is pretty awesome. I get a kick out of Adam Rank. And him and I have gone back and forth on some stuff in the past, and the one that when he was pointing that out, that the best Bears quarterback, or the best quarterback in Bears history, was a quarterback who didn't even reach the Bears in Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
that was all time.
That's pretty good.
That was a fun comment. Hang on 1 second, I just lost a screen on my wall here. Hopefully that comes back. That was ugly. Nope, it's all jacked up. That is what it is, I guess.
There's technical difficulties all over the place.
What's that?
There's technical difficulties all over the place today.
When it rains, it pours.
Exactly.
So, but I'm excited because I got that HD video cam coming here. Should be here in about 2 days. So next week, all this is going to look even better.
It's horrible. You're going to have to get going. You got a face for radio, buddy.
I used to be a DJ. Just saying.
I know it.
Like my profile says, former DJ campus radio station at NDSU and local karaoke legend. Fight me.
Not on camera.
Oh man. All right, I see it is already 7:50. I've got to let you go because I've got some breaks to get into.
So, all right, buddy, have fun with it.
I appreciate you coming on, Dean, and we'll see you next time, bud. Always a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Dean Smith-Richard.
Thank you much.
All righty. I got to close this out. and I gotta figure out what is going on this screen, guys, because this just went really bizarre on me. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, my my other screen here just went berserk on me. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm gonna shut it down. Okay, it is what it is. All right, I'm gonna get this screen changed over real quick so I can get the break rolling. Give me 1 second. I will. Ooh, excuse me. Be right back. All right. I need to adjust my feedback. 1 second. There we go. That's better. I don't need my headphones anymore. That is so much better not having to listen to myself talk. Perfect. Okay. So before I get back into this, or before I move on to this, I'm going, if anybody jumped on that wasn't here at the beginning, big announcement that I promised everybody. Sports Stuff Hub breaks officially returning at the end of this month, and we are kicking it off with 2020 select football single box breaks. They're going to be an estimated of 3/31 release day. Currently is what it's slated for. As long as that date holds up, that's going to be our first date back at breaking. Is going to be the release day for select. The breaks for the meantime will be a random team format to start. The website will soon have a breaks tab on it. So if you have not been to the website yet, go check it out, sportsstuffhub.com. As you see right there on my Twitter handle, at sportsstuffhub on the screen there, it's sportsstuffhub.com. And the tab will be the third tab, I believe. It is going to be after the Funko Shop. So you'll see at the top of the page, there's Card Shop, there's Funko Shop, and then there's going to be breaks. I will have the breaks listed there. Going forward from that day, we will have weekly break night on Wednesday nights. That is going to be scheduled for release days, and we may occasionally throw in a Friday. But Wednesdays are going to be the typical break day, and we will be trying to break the product that releases that day. We could be starting as early as 4 p.m. on break day. It all kind of depends on what time product shows up, but I will get the live stream opened, and we will be doing breaks. So those will start being listed here shortly, provided we don't see a delay in select football release day. So be watching for that. That is our big announcement. Sports Stuff Hub breaks officially returning to the breaking circuit. So we are going to have a blast. We're going to get going once a week to start with, and I'm not planning on getting it too deep for the meantime. But we'll see how the breaks fill and the involvement we get from people joining in, and if there's a demand for it, we may push it to 2 days a week. But I don't plan on getting too heavily into it for now until I can get some help in doing it. Dave, hockey is being considered. Unfortunately, I can't buy Hockey Direct, and I'm trying to make these breaks a little more affordable. I will tell you right now that I do have a plan for the first number of breaks to be, not saying anything specific, but substantially cheaper than anywhere else you're going to find it. We'll just put it that way. than the bigger breakers. I can't price check every breaker in the world, but these breaks will be a significantly less than most of the bigger breakers out there. But hockey I can't buy direct because I'm not brick and mortar. And so if I do any hockey, it would have to be at market value because I don't have an account to buy hockey. Okay, so getting into our rip for tonight, we have Hoops Premium Edition. We have 2 blasters and 2 cellos. So we are going to start with the cellos. And we're going to give away a couple cards out of this as well. I really do like Hoops Premium Edition. It is a really nice looking product. I thought they did fantastic with it this year. And I'm looking forward to it coming back for this year because it says right on the product, maybe it doesn't on this one, but on a lot of them, here we go, inaugural edition, which means their intention is to do it more than just 1 year. So, if you haven't seen Hoops Premium Edition, or Hoops Premium Stock, I should say, number 1, it looks like Hoops, but the differences are obviously you see the chromium type of finish on the cards, but then down there at the bottom, it says right on it, Premium Stock. So here we go. Jalen Brunson, Dion Waiters, Reggie Jackson, Joel Embiid, Eric Bledsoe, Myers Leonard, Quinn Cook, and we get a Kevin Porter Jr. rookie card. And for Tony, we are Basley hunting. And this is not Basley, so who cares? DeAndre Hunter Tribute rookie card. And we get a silver Kendrick Nunn rookie. Boom. Values on Kendrick Nunn are starting to go up. He's been in the starting lineup lately. And we get a green Paul Millsap. And our last card is an insert, zero gravity insert of John Wall. We're going to save the bonus packs for after the main packs here. Thon Maker, Tarian Prince, Victor Oladipo, Yusuf Nurkic, Jahlil Okafor, Kawhi Leonard, and rookie Nasir Little. Rookie Dean Wade. Rookie Siku Doumbouya. And a silver rookie, Nickeil Alexander Walker. So we're lucky enough to hit 2 silver rookies. And we get a blue Josh Hart. And I don't believe blues are numbered. They are not. So blue parallel Josh Hart. And then a courtside Trae Young blue. Right on. Nice card. And I don't believe that is numbered either. Blue Prism courtside Trae Young. And then our bonus packs are, I believe, laser or velocity, whatever they call them. So here you go. That is the look. And we get Nicholas Batum, DeMar DeRozan, and then a Karl Malone tribute in the first pack. Second pack. Kevin Huerter, Evan Fournier, and Al Horford. No rookie in our bonus packs, unfortunately. But that's fine. We got a couple of good ones in the regular packs. Let's move over to our blasters. I'm trying to think if I've even opened a blaster of this year. I know I've opened a mega box or two. Those were the first cellos I've opened. Man, I have not opened much for the retail of this. Itchy eye. Itchy eye. All right, there's our two blasters. Let's dig. Oop. Klay Thompson, Jahlil Okafor, rookie Tremont Waters, and we get an Anthony Davis red. Not numbered, I don't believe. Nope. Anthony Davis red. John Collins, Yusuf Nurkic, Harrison Barnes, and a Tyler Johnson silver. Justin Jackson, Malcolm Brogdon. We get a rookie of Justin James. And then we get, oh, nice, backstage pass, Luka Doncic. Very cool. I like this set. Backstage pass is probably one of my favorite sets. Actually, I like a lot of the sets. I like high voltage. You know, well, I don't want to say every, but a lot of the inserts when I run across them, I'm like, I like that. That's so cool. Wilson Chandler, Jimmy Buckets, Karl Malone tribute, and a Mojo Justin Jackson. Not numbered, though. Wendell Carter, Joe Ingles, Cameron Johnson rookie, and a green Kevin Knox. Austin Rivers, Hamadou, Shayak rookie, Mariel Shayak, and a silver Lauri Markkanen. See if we can get an auto. It'd be awesome. I have not pulled an auto out of this stuff yet. Karis LeVert, DeJounte Murray, Luka Samanic rookie, which looks like it's got a thing. Josh Hart. We get a rookie, R.J. Barrett. There we go. And then, oh, there you go, Tony. There it is. Darius Bazley. Mojo. Darius Bazley. Rookie. Nice. Right on. Kelly Olynyk, Russell Westbrook, Duncan Robinson, and then we get a tribute, red, Kevin Durant. That looks slick. I might have to chase the rainbow on the Durant tribute because I've got like 4 colors of him already. Although, now that I think about it, there's like 50 parallels, so maybe I won't. Kristaps Porzingis, DeMar DeRozan, rookie Kevin Porter Jr., and silver Steven Adams. Landry Shamet, Jeff Teague, Quinn Cook, and a zero gravity DeMar DeRozan. Just the base, not the silver prism version. Chris Dunn, Dame Lillard, Bol rookie. And then a Mojo Thaddeus Young. Eric Gordon, Vince Carter, Tribute, Larry Bird, and a green Gary Harris, Denver Nuggets. 3 packs left. Keep them fingers crossed for an auto, guys. Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Vucevic, Moritz Wagner, and a silver Kevin Huerter. 2 packs. Terry Rozier, Brandon Ingram, Taco Fall, base rookie, and courtside silver Giannis Antetokounmpo. Another cool set. And last pack. Last pack. Trae Young, Myers Leonard, Kobe White base rookie. Last card, Mojo Bryn Forbes. No auto for us. So that was 2 blaster boxes and 2 cellos of Hoops Premium Stock, Inaugural Edition, 2019-20. Okay. I need to get this figured out, what I'm going to give away real quick, because we are already running overtime tonight. So, I'm going to give away, I don't know what just happened on the screen, but it looked like something just fluttered. Did we not pull any good LeBrons? I don't think we did. Okay. One that I'm going to give away is the Trae Young Courtside Blue. Okay. Trae Young Courtside Blue. And then I will give away the I'm going to do a 2-pack that involves the Nykiel Silver, and the Anthony Davis red. Okay, so this is going to go to one winner. And this is going to go to one winner. So we're going to have two winners tonight. One's going to win the Trae Young blue courtside. One's going to win the Anthony Davis and the Nike silver. Those are going to be the wieners tonight. Unfortunately, no monsters in this rip, but not bad. Okay, so let's get our screen up here. Everybody that wants a shot at winning tonight, just go ahead and type in the chat, me, M-E, because you want a shot. Go ahead, throw it down in chat, and I will get you guys entered. Give everybody a few moments. I'll sleeve up a couple of these other ones. Can you guys hear me okay? Is everything... Because now I'm getting... It looks like it's spinning. Error occurred now. Weird. Huh. Okay. Alright, it's still playing for everybody, I guess. It's weird because the YouTube is telling me that there's an error occurred. Please try again later. Interesting. Alright, well, let's get people entered. So we got Anthony. David Miller. We got Shane. Taylor. Dave Fitch. We got Tony. Am I missing anybody? Huh, weird. Yeah, all I see on my feedback screen is on YouTube is just that an error occurred. Please try again later. That's weird. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in. We're gonna do the dice roll. Let's see if anybody else is gonna jump in. Yes, I did. I thought you chimed in when I said Basley. Oh, that was Taylor that said that. Yeah, if you can see this, Tony. A Mojo, not numbered. I thought Mojos were numbered, but unless this is a different parallel, I thought this was the Mojo. Mojo Basley. So, dice roll. 9. We're going to randomize the list 9 times. 9 times. Alright, so I think that's all we have, because it looked like we lost a few of the viewers. It might have been because of the glitch, I don't know. But we've got 6 people in for the drawing, so let's just go ahead and get it. So 9 times. 1, good luck everybody. 2, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. 3, Come on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th and final time. Good luck again, everybody. Taylor taking home the Trae Young blue courtside. Shane winning the Nike silver and the Anthony Davis red. There you go, guys. Congratulations. I'm going to get a picture of that real quick so that I've got who they're supposed to go to. Perfect. Congratulations, winners. And let me get the camera swapped around here real quick. 1 second, guys. All right, so congratulations to our 2 winners for tonight of the Hoops Premium Singles. All right, just quick recap. So we do have a card show this weekend in Auburn. It's going to be a massive card show. There's going to be 100 plus tables. It's going to be broken up between 2 areas of the mall. So if you're in the area and you want to go to a card show, or if you want to fly into the area or travel into the area, whichever the case may be, do it. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be huge. It's going to be one of the biggest card shows in the region in a number of years. So I anticipate this being a massive show. I'm going to have a lot of stuff there, so definitely check it out. And then we also have the Everett show 2 weeks later over Easter weekend. That the show was knocked down from 2 days down to 1 day. And then also just a quick recap on the big announcement: Sports Stuff Hub Breaks is returning. Our first breaks will be slated for select football if it holds as being a March 31st release date. We're going to be breaking every Wednesday from that point on release day for the new products. So, yeah. Thanks everybody for watching the show, and I appreciate the continued support. We're having a lot of fun. This is going to continue to grow. I want to thank Dean again tonight for joining me. Next week we're going to have Mark Magana on, provided we don't have any hiccups with scheduling conflicts for him. Work calls. I completely understand it. So hopefully we'll have Mark Magana on with us next week. Do have a couple more interviews lined up for possibly the last week of this month or into next month. But we do have a lot of stuff coming up. So make sure you guys are checking out the social media. Check out sportstuffhub.com. We're going to have the breaks listed on there. Events tab is going to start filling up even more. Potentially going to be listing other card shows outside of this region as well. I'm also contemplating making a per state card show page. We'll see. A lot of stuff that we're going to play with. I will be sending out some pictures of some prototypes of card show badges for anybody who's interested. So you can wear a lanyard with a badge on it that has your Twitter handle, Instagram handle, whatever else, and then your name, so that people can identify you at card shows. If there's somebody that maybe has talked to you or seen you online, or maybe they want to take a picture like Eloy and I were talking about, because, you know, the GOAT, you know, he's going to sign autographs at this next card show, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being on here. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys all next week here on Tuesday after this weekend's card show. Have a blast, stay safe, and I will see you all later.